This is going to be a short video about why I bought an SSD. Before we talk about the main advantages or the reasons why I switched from HDDs to SSDs, I want us to talk about the disadvantage. Let me show you the disadvantages of the SSD. First is the cost. SSDs are very expensive compared to HDDs. An SSD that's 1 terabyte will cost you about 1,000 cedis. One I bought from Samsung, that was the price, and that's a SATA SSD, not even NVMe. NVMe's are even more expensive than SATA SSDs. But a 2.5-inch SATA SSD that's 1 terabyte from Samsung will set you back about 1,000 cedis. An HDD at that price is about $50. So you see there's a huge price gap when it comes to SSDs and HDDs. Another disadvantage, which some consider as an advantage with SSDs, is the inability to recover lost data. With SSDs, if you delete data, it's near impossible to get that data back, unlike HDDs. For some, if they delete their data, they don't want the possibility of someone being able to regain that data. Okay, so those are the two main things: inability to recover data, which to some is an advantage, to some is a disadvantage, and also the price, which is, really up there. It's a premium price when you're getting an SSD. But maybe the advantages are enough to convince us, at least they were enough to convince me to switch from HDDs. What really happened to me, what really made me make up my mind to get an SSD is the fact that I lost 2 hard disks in a row. The first one started gradually, then it failed. I didn't know it was going to fail. I didn't know the signs when an HDD is failing, but that's what happened. The HDD failed. And the second one too, shortly after, failed. And HDDs are very prone to damage. It's very easy to ruin an HDD. There's a story of this data center. Data centers store data for other people, so most of the data that they have belongs to other people. So it's their clients' information. They were moving their hard disks from one department to another department. So they packed these hard disks. They organize it. They are a data center. They know how delicate HDDs are. But this story will tell you they didn't really know how delicate they can be. They thought they were being careful. They organized the HDDs well, put them in something like a shopping cart, not a real shopping, like a transport medium, a trolley. Yes, I think maybe a trolley. And they pushed it from one building to another building. When they got there, most or a lot of the HDDs were damaged, not because of anything, but because of the rumble on the ground. As they were pushing it, the HDDs rumbled just a little bit. And with HDDs, even a millimeter shift in any disk is detrimental. So that's what happened. They lost a lot of data, other people's data, because of little rumbles. That is not something that is likely to happen with an SSD at all. An SSD, which means solid state drive, is basically a high performance pen drive. I have never heard of a story where someone's pen drive got damaged because they shook the pen drive too hard. I've not heard of it. Or they were transporting the pen drive and it vibrated too much and it got damaged. I've never heard that story before. With SSDs, it's almost the same. Another advantage of SSDs is also the weight. They are very light. It's something like an enlarged pen drive. It can't be heavy. HDDs are very heavy because they have a lot of metallic material in it, dense metallic material. But with SSDs, they can be the same size as an HDD and they will still be light. Another advantage of SSDs over HDDs is the high performance. With a normal SSD, you'll be getting about 500 read and write speeds, 500 megabytes per second read or write speeds. But with a fast HDD, a 7200 RPM HDD, you'll be getting about 125 read or write speeds. The SSD's performance is about double that of the HDD. Huge performance gap. And if you are someone who does a lot of video editing or stuff that requires copying or moving large amounts of data, it's very good to have high read and write speeds, and you get that with an SSD. So having a high read and write speed means even faster loading when it comes to games, faster loading when it comes to software, faster reading of information. So things don't take long to load. Much faster booting of computer. You don't get this what's it called? That loading sign on Windows. You don't get it when you are using an SSD. You press it and like 2 seconds the computer is booted. You don't get that with an HDD because HDDs take quite a long time to load. SSDs are very fast. SSDs also produce less heat because they don't have moving parts. I mean, the main thing that convinced me to get an SSD is the fact that they don't get damaged easily, so it's not likely to fail anytime soon. But then again, I've just started using them and we'll see. I've read and done a lot of research about it, and the disadvantages compared to the advantages, for me, the advantages are much more. The advantages of getting an SSD convinced me to buy them over the HDD. I've had HDDs and they've failed on me twice this time, and now I'm going for the SSD, and I'll even use an SSD as my backup because I want to take much less risk when it comes to losing my data. There's more security with my data if I should use an SSD, but with HDDs you don't get that much security. HDDs it's too easy to damage an HDD. Yeah, so that's it. Those are the main advantages of an SSD, and that's why I've switched from HDDs to an SSD. I switched because my HDDs kept failing on me. I've lost a lot of data, and maybe I would have to pay a lot of money to recover that information, to have the hard disk repaired. But with the SSD, I don't run that risk anymore. I'm not risking that much. SSD is not going to get damaged because maybe I walked too fast whilst it was in my backpack, or I shook the computer a little, or the computer almost fell and I caught it. Those things wouldn't be damaging my SSD. But with an HDD, I'm sure things like that are what have damaged it. Maybe I was walking too fast while wearing my bag. I don't know. Maybe I had my laptop behind me and I walked too fast and the vibrations damaged my HDD. It's very possible when it comes to HDDs, but SSD, no, you don't have that. Okay, I thought this was going to be a short video, but I'm seeing 10 minutes here. Maybe after editing we are talking about 5 to 6 minutes. Let's see. But I hope this has been educative and has been a bit entertaining. I'll try and put plenty things on the screen so that you forget about my boring speech, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it, hit the thumbs up button. If you didn't enjoy it, try and stay away from the thumbs down button. Okay, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Stay blessed. Bye.